Whispers from the Attic. Unearthing secrets into an old Victorian home. Have you ever felt something lurking behind you in the dark? Join acclaimed horror writer, Adrian, as he enters an old Victorian house full of mysterious whispers and terrifying secrets. On the outskirts of a neglected town stands an old Victorian house known as Everwood House. Abandoned for decades, the house has become a talking point among locals who often tell spooky stories about it. No one really knows what's going on inside, but everyone agrees that something is wrong there. In the middle of the dark night, heavy rain drenched the path leading to the house. Flickering car headlights pierced through the curtain of rain, and the sound of thunder boomed in the distance. When the car stopped, a man named Adrian got out, standing in front of the rusted iron gate. Adrian is a well-known horror book writer with a desire to unearth mysteries, and this time, he was determined to write about Everwood House. Adrian carried a flashlight and a camera, ready to capture every detail of this neglected house. The heavy wooden lock on the large door made a creaking sound as he opened it, as if expressing displeasure at Adrian's presence. Upon stepping inside, Adrian was greeted by the smell of dampness and bone-chilling cold air. The interior of the house looked like time had stopped. Dusty old furniture and shabby curtains hung lazily. The high ceilings were covered in cobwebs, and the faded walls looked like they were waiting for someone to uncover the secrets hidden behind them. Adrian turned on the flashlight and began to explore the dark living room. One room caught Adrian's attention. The living room located at the back of the house. There was something unnatural about this room, as if something was waiting there. He felt a chill run down his spine and heard a faint voice that sounded like a whisper. Adrian ignored his fear and walked into the room. On top of the fireplace that had not been used for a long time, Adrian found a large mirror full of dust. He cleaned out the mirror and observed its reflection. However, there was something strange. In the corner of the mirror, there was a dark shadow that looked like a human figure standing behind it. Adrian turned his body quickly, but the room was empty. When he looked back at the mirror, the image was gone, but the whispering voice was getting clearer. Adrian began to feel that something was trying to speak to him from inside the house. He decided to explore further and headed upstairs. The wooden stairs creaked under his weight, adding to the growing sense of tension. Upon arrival upstairs, Adrian found a few rooms that looked long unoccupied. One of them was the master bedroom with a large bed covered by a dull cotton cover. On the walls of the bedroom, there were old pictures of the family looking dreamy and gloomy. Adrian felt the piercing gaze of the pictures, as if following his every move. When he opened the wardrobe, Adrian found some antique clothes and an old wooden box that was locked. He felt intrigued by the box and tried to unlock it with the tools he had brought with him. After a few minutes of struggling, the box finally opened, giving off a strong smell of dampness. Inside the box, there were some letters and black and white photographs. One of the letters appears to have been written in a shaky hand, and as Adrian reads it, he discovers it tells the story of a woman named Eleanor Everwood, who lived in this house in the early 20th century. The letter reveals that Eleanor often felt there was something unnatural in her home and was obsessed with a mysterious whispering sound coming from the attic. Curious, Adrian headed to the attic. The stairs to the attic were hidden behind a small door in the corner of the room. He opened the door, and an old wooden staircase emerged into the darkness. Carefully, Adrian climbed the creaking stairs and finally arrived at the attic. The attic was filled with dust-covered old things, including worn-out furniture and forgotten-looking boxes. In the corner of the attic, there was a small workbench with some old notes and books. Adrian approached and began to examine the desk. One of the books Adrian found was Eleanor's diary. It recounted the strange changes that happened to her after she started hearing whispers from the attic. Eleanor wrote about strange noises and dark shadows that often appeared at night. Her final notes were full of fear and pleas for someone to find the truth behind all of this. As Adrian read the last note, the same whispering voice began to sound again, more vivid and chilling than before. It was as if it was trying to tell him something, and Adrian felt increasingly distressed by the invisible presence. The voice grew louder, almost like a scream. Suddenly, from within the darkness, a black figure floated over. The figure looked like the shadow of a woman, wearing a tattered white dress. Adrian froze, his body unable to move as the figure drew closer and the whispers became increasingly unintelligible. There was a chill that touched his skin, and Adrian felt as if his soul was trapped inside the house. The figure stopped a few steps in front of him and seemed to extend his hand hopefully. Adrian, in a state of panic, ignored his fear and decided to try talking to the figure. He asked, "What's going on here? What do you want?" The whispers heard from the figure began to form clear sentences. "Help me get out of here. I'm trapped." The figure seemed to be getting clearer, revealing Eleanor's face full of agony. Adrian felt a heavy emotional burden and realized that Eleanor seemed unable to rest in peace due to an unsolved secret. He then searched around the attic and found a panel hidden in the wall. After much effort, Adrian managed to open the panel, revealing a small hidden room. In the small room, Adrian found a very old and dusty diary. It contained Eleanor's previously unread notes. In the book, Eleanor wrote about the terrible events that befell their family. Apparently, there was a dark ritual performed in the house by their ancestors, which caused a curse that kept Eleanor's spirit trapped in the house. Adrian was distressed by this discovery. He knew that to free Eleanor's spirit, he had to stop the curse. By reading the instructions in the diary, Adrian performed the ritual described to free the trapped spirit. When the ritual was over, Eleanor's figure seemed calmer and began to disappear into the soft light. The eerie whispering sounds gradually disappeared, and the house began to feel quieter. Adrian felt relieved, but also exhausted after this terrifying experience. She left Everwood House with mixed feelings of triumph and regret. The house, though still old and broken, felt a little more peaceful. Adrian knew that he had uncovered a terrible secret and helped a trapped soul to finally find peace. By the time Adrian got back into his car and left the house, the rain had stopped and the sky was beginning to lighten. However, the experience at Everwood House would always haunt his mind, reminding him of the power of mystery and dark secrets hidden in seemingly forgotten places.